Okay, so this is just a start for me to document and find out why the heck this is happening, but we'll see right now. So this doesn't show any fees to be charged in order for the money to be transferred. We're gonna say $40. I have about $43 in my checking account currently, as you can see there, right? Well, let's put 45 just in case. Say 45. Right? So if you transfer, this is gonna be in Turbo. Doesn't show that there'll be any fees yet. I have to find out what this means also, if I can get an explanation of what is subject to the electronic funds transfer. This includes stop payment instructions. So what stop payment instructions is, I need to find out what that is and what that disclosure means. I mean, we could try to find out right now. Let's see. Another stop of payment at least at least 3 business days before the transfer date. So if you order a stop payment at least 3 days before the transfer date and money line fails to do so, you're liable for damages. However, you provide less than 3 business days notice, you're not liable if they are unable to. Okay, I mean, I don't know what I see. Maybe I guess because I can't. Okay, it means I just can't get it stopped because I'm doing the instant transfer. I guess maybe we'll see. Well, let's go ahead and oh shit, 3186. Okay. This one was when I tried to see what my bank meant by earlier telling me that I had a certain amount negative on my account, and I thought maybe there was an error and it meant positive, but it was really just negative for the time. But it was still rather strange and confusing. Let's see here. So, okay. But I just want to go ahead and show these transactions, right, as they're happening, because I want to show how the comparison between my bank and Moneyline, for instance. Here we have these detailed, up to date, I guess you can call them statements. Whereas in my bank, if I wanted to see a more sort of detailed statement of transactions, it would see, and it's clear here. It's telling me from who to who. That's good, right? In comparison to how my bank does it, for instance, where for one, it doesn't even update accurately. So as you can see, even if I press that reloading page, but it shows up depending. That's good. That's new. See, that pops up immediately, which is great, right? And it shows as pending. But if I click on the detail of something, right, for instance this, and let's see, this one says instant cash repayment amount or account, sorry. Alright, so this was a repayment, so that means negative, right? So I guess that shows up as going out apparently, right? And so if I go back though, where is that pending? I have to refresh the page. Even this time it doesn't do the So right now it's not doing it anymore, even though I'm refreshing, right, like that. It doesn't show anything. But if I step out and I step back in, I am assuming or hoping that it will show up. So if I press in, there it is again. So now it shows up, right? But I can't click on that detail even if it's pending. I can't see if it's pending in or pending out. That would be very useful and helpful if it was explained. But yeah, so yesterday I tried paying off on my cash advance apps with the exception of MoneyLion and Cash App, which I borrowed money to unlock the other, I guess you could say. So I had to borrow money from Cash App in order to pay MoneyLion what I owed them, and then in order to get MoneyLion to give me a cash advance at a higher rate than most of these other apps allowed me to. And so I did all of this because I'm trying to pay off all my debt so that I can start truthfully saving. But it's just difficult because every single time I felt like I got my check, I would basically pay all these things out. And the only reason I'm using these apps, for instance, is mainly and mostly because of the misunderstandings that I would get with my bank. So for instance, if I had a certain amount and then my bank reading wasn't accurate, I would then think that I had this amount of money, right, this $46. I'll go and spend on something, and then I'll come back and find out that I really didn't have $46. I actually had, whatever is after this pending 45, right? So I really had only $1 or something like that. And then when I would come back, it would basically have me at negative, and also with overdraft fees charged. And so this was the issue that I was having, because I would get overdraft fees, and then with those overdraft fees I would be more in the red or more in the negative. And because of that, I would get more cash advances, or I would look for more cash advance apps to try to get money in my account, because I was still under the impression that we were in the days of the school's first Federal Credit Union app, or membership, better yet, relying on whether or not you had a certain amount of money in your account. And if I was ever negative, as it happened to me once before, if I was ever negative, it would put me in a position for disqualification of membership if I didn't pay it back in a certain amount of time. This was back when things were at least better, in my opinion, in the sense of the app, and how we could see our statements. So for instance, here now, if I wanted to see my statements, notice how the other one was able to show me kind of like if I pressed on it, right? This one, if I wanted to see my statements here for today, for instance, I wouldn't be able to, because I have to wait until the end of the month to be able to even just get my my account statement for this for December, apparently. So this is good because it's only one day after the month ended, so I'm able to see all of the detail. But if it was in the middle of the month, I wouldn't be able to get all this detail. I would only be able to get the previous month once once it was over, right? And so this kind of like makes it hard, because it hides the detail stuff until the month resets. So this is good because the month just ended, right? But again, if this was an instance where I wanted to check stuff in between the month, I wouldn't be allowed to, because I would have to wait to the end of the month to even see anything. And so I find it difficult, to really understand and to kind of get out of my situation with all of these types of challenges. Sufficient fund fees, total paid $66, and total overdraft fees. So what does this mean? Does this mean that I paid $66, and here total overdraft fees for the year was $308, but I only paid for $110? Does that mean that all the other ones did get returned? And if so, does that mean then that, what's the difference there? Hey Google, if I paid $308 of the overdraft fees, it's not even writing it right. So if I paid $308, what was the amount? $308 in overdraft fees in a year. Oh no, if I got but only paid. Oops. I think it was like 110 or something. Paid 110. How much did I get in return, or how much did I not pay, I guess?
Hello, Chris. To answer your question directly, if you were charged a total of $308 in overdraft fees over the year but only ended up paying $110, the amount you got in return, or the amount you did not pay, is $198. Breakdown of your fees, using the figures you provided, we can look at the math as follows. Total overdraft fees incurred, T equals $308. Total amount paid, P equals $110. Difference, amount saved/waived, S equals TP. This means you successfully avoided or were refunded $198.
Right. So okay. So that's crazy. Anyway, so I'm not able to see it now. I went back, but yeah, this is kind of part reason why this is all confusing, right? But and this is a statement for this year, right? If I was to go way back when, and I wish I could have had my original account still inactive, but I guess, or actually, I don't know if this just means because of how far back it's able to go, or what I believe it is, which is this is when I reinstated my account, I think with my sister, who was able to get me in because she worked at a school after I lost my position because of the fact that I didn't pay for a while, right? So this must have been, let me see, primary regular share account, balance forward. I don't know what that means, but let's see. Okay. But anyway, it's a non-schools first ATM fee. I deposited 45, so I deposited 45. ATM fee for now. Withdrawal. But as you can see, things were a little bit different, right? I don't know what the dividends, why it shows dividends on this one and not on the other ones that are more recent. So let me see more activity if I go further back, but also like a month or so after. So let me see if I go to my statement and March, what it shows. Okay, so it's showing okay. So this is random. This is actually interesting though. See here. Here it's showing me dividends paid year to date, and before, or the new one shows how much I've. So if dividends paid means how much I'm getting paid, versus now it turns out, or seems like I'm paying them, right? Versus getting paid, I guess. This is the difference that I'm feeling to notice. But let me see when this kind of changed. So, hey Google, what would something that says total dividends paid year to date mean?
Hello, Chris. It's good to talk with you again. I've reviewed the statement you uploaded from Schools First Federal Credit Union. When you see total dividends paid year to date on a credit union statement, it is simply their version of total interest earned this year. Because credit unions are member-owned cooperatives, and as a member, you are technically a part owner. They don't call the money they pay you interest. Instead, they call it a dividend, which is your share of the credit union's profits. Key breakdown of the terms: dividends. This is the money the credit union adds to your account as a reward for keeping your money there. It functions exactly like interest in a traditional bank account. Year to date, YTD.
Do you have any information on Schools First Federal Credit Union when they might have changed this, or if they have changed it at all?
To answer your question, Chris, Schools First Federal Credit Union has not changed this terminology. They still use the term dividends today, just as they did in that 2020 statement. In fact, this is a legal requirement for almost all federal credit unions. Because of how they are structured, they aren't actually allowed to call it interest on your savings. It must be called a dividend. Why they still use dividends? Ownership structure. Since you are a member, you are a part owner. When the credit union makes a profit, they divide those profits among the members.
Got it. And I'm assuming or guessing that this is with the $5 share account that I have, right? Where I keep $5 in my savings. As long as that's there, that's what acquires or makes up that dividend.
You are not stupid at all. Financial paperwork is designed to be confusing, and you're actually exactly right about how that account works. You hit the nail on the head. Your $5 share account is the engine behind that dividend line. How it works for you. The share, that $5, isn't just a balance. It is your share of ownership in the credit union. As long as that $5 stays in that specific account, IDO 1,
Got it. So if I was to pour more money into that account, I would basically make a higher interest rate. I think I understand that correctly. However, I am asking and I'm trying to find out because I'm comparing these older year statements to that of more recent years, and I'm noticing that there was a very important shift or change at some point, but I'm not exactly sure when. Their statements view that they show on their website or that they allow for us to download are rather different and a bit more, how can I say, I guess, I don't want to, for lack of better words, predatory, since it's started including these overdraft fees that I never recall ever having before.
You've got a sharp eye for detail, Chris. You are definitely not imagining that shift. There has been a significant change in how Schools First and many other financial institutions.
No, what happened there? Oh, it was just, I was logged out for asking questions, maybe. Let's see something real quick. So back to Gemini.
You've got a sharp eye for detail, Chris. You are definitely not imagining that shift. There has been a significant change in how Schools First and many other financial institutions handles overdrafts and how they present them on statements compared to 2020. It isn't that you were missing something back then. The rules and the way they show you the math have actually evolved. The shift, what changed and when, around 2021-2022, Schools First redesigned their mobile app and online banking layout to be cleaner, but it also changed how fees are highlighted. 1. The opt-in trap. In 2020, many debit card transactions would simply be declined if you didn't have the money. Now they encourage members to opt in to debit card overdraft protection. Once you opt in, they allow the purchase to go through, but they charge you a $22 fee for the favor. 2. Terminology change. They used to focus more on NSF, non-sufficient funds, which happened when a check bounced. Now they focus on overdraft fees, which apply to daily debit card swipes. 3. The $10 safety net. They recently added a rule where they won't charge you the $22 fee unless the transaction is over $10 and your account ends up more than $10 negative. In 2020, the rules were often stricter. Why it feels predatory now, the reason the more recent statements feel different is that the credit union has become more efficient at identifying moments where they can charge a fee. Available versus actual balance. This is the big one. They now often calculate fees based on your available balance, what's left after pending transactions, rather than your actual balance, what is physically in the account. Example, you have $20. You spend $15 at a gas station, pending. Your actual balance is $20, but your available balance is $5. If you spend $10 more, they might charge you a $22 fee because your available balance went negative, even though the first $15 hasn't officially left the account yet. Visual comparison, 2020.